You're listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast with Prep Baseball Wisconsin, breaking down the top high school prospects and featuring all things college baseball recruiting in a changing world. Hosted by Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields, and Andy Sroka, this is Badger State Ball.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Badger State Ball, our podcast here. You got me, Andy Sroka, joined by Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields, Nick DiBenedetto. Kind of a fun episode we have in store for us today because with us just kind of counting down to the end of the year here, turning over into 2026, looking ahead to, some showcases in the new year, kicks up pretty quickly in month of February, January even for us. But before we get to that point, we thought it'd be kind of fun to reflect on some of the best performances, best moments of this past year, some things that stuck out to us, whether it was at a showcase setting, back in the WWI or WIAA season. So with that, we have some superlatives, some podcast awards to dish out here today. So we can kind of get right into it. Anything to add on, I guess, before we get started here? Vinny, Josh, Nick?
No, I think this is one of our favorite. Have we done this in the past? If not, it is probably one of my favorite things to do, just to kind of reflect on some of the top performances and just kind of have some fun with this episode and just kind of, like I said, like Andy said, give away some awards here. That'll be fun to kind of go through right here. Yeah.
Well, and Nick, you'll come in handy, I think, with this one, just because Nick has been helping assemble some of the end of year leaderboards and stuff that we've been publishing on our website and on social media and stuff. So kind of have some fresh material top of mind. Hopefully that'll help fill in some of the gaps here. But we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seven or eight awards we're going to dish out here. But first, we thought we'd lead off with kind of a fun one of most improved. So we didn't have a ton of qualifiers with these awards, but whatever that really meant to you, most improved prospect from 2025. And that was really anybody we saw from this past year. So that includes class of 2025 kids who've moved on to college and beyond. So first, let's go Fields. Why don't you start us off here with your most improved prospect of 2025?
Oh man, you're starting it off with me. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'll lead it off with you.
So obviously, I watch a lot of the spring coverage. I'm at all the events, so I get to see the majority of the players in the state. But one guy that really stood out to me was Sam Manchester from up over in Hudson. This spring he really emerged as a middle of the order bat for Hudson. Left-handed bat, played center fielder for them. Just a lot of hard contact, and then he parlayed that into a strong summer season where we saw him multiple times, and even into the state games where he really broke out, showcased a lot of loud tools, 100-mile-an-hour EVs, really good run time and strong arm. But yeah, Sam Manchester, just an athletic left-handed hitter. So yeah, he was the most improved guy for me.
Yeah, I'm proud of you actually because you got really close to picking Jace Matazinski for this one, but you went with a different Hudson player. So I'm proud of you. I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Showed a lot of restraint, Josh, in doing so.
Yeah, but
we'll talk about Jace later on.
Yeah. Sam Manchester, he's the man, and he had one of the more ridiculous metrics across the board from the state games. Actually, that I think we've referenced that a couple times. But totally deserving one here. So good stuff, Field. But Vinny, why don't you take us on to the next one?
Yeah, you got to go with Jack Brenner as the most improved player. And it's not as if Jack Brenner wasn't a guy that kind of stood out to you in terms of his athleticism, in terms of his bat speed and twitchiness when he was in the box and behind the plate, and when he'd showcase his defensive kind of tools, his tool set. It's always been high, right? We brought him to the future games a couple of years ago, and like I said, it's like a guy that you take note of, because of the toolbox and the tool set that he was working with. And then he just kind of took off this year in terms of his ability to translate those tools into skills on the field in game, right? I mean, he tore the cover off the ball this fall. He really put himself on the map in terms of being a draftable prospect at this point. A lot of teams are on him. And so I think it's kind of a no-brainer to go with Jack Brenner as my pick for most improved player in the state, just because of like I said, just how the really impressive tool set has translated into in-game results on the field. This is good stuff from Jack
Yeah,
this year.
no, it's a great call with just how much he's grown from. I think he was like one of our favorites just going back to the future games, but then he's kind of like evolved into this national type prospect, now committed to Oklahoma. So he had a huge year. I think the improvement is definitely an understatement even with Jack. So that's a good call. And then Nick, why don't you round us out, and then I'll talk about mine.
My most improved was Håkan Hovstol. He was at an event in March of 2024, and then his most recent event was the state games of this year, and his exit velo jumped 13 miles an hour from 83 to 96. He improved his 60-yard time from 7.32 to a 6.99, and then his pop time improved by a tenth of a second. For the rankings, he was ranked 50 before the season of this past year, and then this fall, at the end of the fall, he's ranked number 18. And I mean, I saw him in game this summer, and I mean, that bat speed, the hand speed really stood out to me.
Yep. Yeah, Håkan, left-handed catcher, just kind of put it all together like this year. I think he was somebody we liked when he was younger even, and then just the fact that he got this much better, right, when you say Fields in just a pretty short amount of time. Like, I think he turned it around really quickly.
Yeah, especially since, I mean, at that younger level, like he was a standout catcher, and you're still seeing him still defend at a high level, and there's still like a ceiling there. So him being left-handed with some pop in there, a little bit of athleticism, can defend behind the plate. Really good stuff.
Yeah, and I remember even seeing him at the Rock when he was in middle school.
Yeah,
and it was like, who is this kid? And then, not that he regressed, but I could safely say that maybe he stalled out just a little bit, and then now he's kicked it into that another gear, and he's really put himself on the map in the state. It's impressive.
Well, and it's a great example because like you don't need or you can't expect like your progress, your development, like as a player, to just like continually on a just steady slope incline, like improve like year after year.
Yeah,
like,
they say it
kind of goes up and down.
It's not linear.
Yes, so like, yeah, you're gonna feel those like stalled out moments, and it's kind of about pulling yourself through them and just figuring out how to, get better from there. And he got better fast, like so. That good stuff, Håkan. For me, I went with Evan Lauer, since graduated, on to Brian Stratton, but Germantown right-handed pitcher. Evan was just a really fun pitcher to watch this past year because of how the pitchability, like he was dealing. I felt like he was he epitomizes the term like playing like chess when everybody else is playing checkers or something. He's that type of a pitcher. But like we probably told the story like 3-4 times already at this point. But when Fields and I saw him, and he didn't throw a fastball, I don't think the first 2 innings.
Are you talking about that Milkman?
Yeah,
that was the best outing I may have seen in the spring.
Against Wisconsin Lutheran. Yeah, and we were just like, oh yeah, I 79-80, like that's what he could pitch. He could really pitch. And then like third inning or something, it was like 80-45. Yeah, he was just throwing like two-seam change, whatever. He was just throwing a ton of spamming changeups and like breaking balls, and he kind of kept being that way throughout the year, and he ended up finishing here. I pulled the stats up. He was he was a first-team All-State guy for us. 55 innings, 1.14 ERA, 70 strikeouts, whip under .8. He just had an awesome year, and to see like the pitchability stay while he was able to add some velo, get into the mid-80s, just make it a little bit more effective overall. Like, one of my favorite pitchers to watch. I'm excited to keep watching him in the junior college scene right now. So Evan Lauer, most improved for us this year. But that brings us to
Andy,
go ahead.
real quick, little Zach Davies comp for me for Evan Lauer. And you'll see this kid continue to improve, with the stuff, just because of how athletic he is through that delivery and how smooth and fluid it is. And as he continues to add strength, you just see this time and time again with a kid with that clean of a delivery, that clean of an arm stroke through the baseball. You'll watch to see this kid's going to probably pitch in the upper 80s, potentially even in the 90s. And just the progression from where his velocity has gone. We're talking 2023 at a showcase, he was 79 miles per hour, then 84 last year. And you guys said you saw him up to, 86 at Milkman in 2025. So he'll be a fun one to follow just because of how clean and easy that is coming out of his hand.
Yeah, just knowing what he's doing. And, you come to realize, too, what he does on the mound feels more rare than some of these other things, like elite velocity and stuff like. We just we'll see some guys. We saw a ton of guys touch 90 mile an hour and above this past year. Not just in the senior class, but younger. And comparing like what Evan Lauer does best, comparing it to those other guys, it's like, okay, Evan actually has this trait here with his pitch ability that is more uncommon than some of these other things. So it's a good reminder there of what how you can separate yourself against competition. Next category here, maybe Vinny, you start us off here. We got the toughest at bat award from this past year. The player that you think you wouldn't want to face. I know you don't call yourself a pitcher very often, but if you were the last one you'd want to face.
Well, I mean, just with what Kyle Rogozinski showed us at the Future Games in July was just really impressive. Just you see this kid, he's all sorts of tooled up, right? Twitchy, athletic as can be. I think he was upset that he ran like a 6'5" or 6'6". Like, okay, I would have done cartwheels if I ran that fast. But this kid, as a 16-year-old running that fast, and then so you see all the tools, but then all of a sudden you see him in the box and really just digging in there, not giving ground, getting pitched extremely tough, and then he's just having tough pitch after tough pitch. He's fouling them off, not afraid to battle with 2 strikes. And then he goes ahead and barrels something up after a mistake after he wears a pitcher down. You saw that time and time again at the Future Games. It was really fun to watch, actually, how competitive this kid is. Mm-hmm. Super tough at bat, super competitor. Didn't really know what I was going to get from him, just in terms of like seeing him up close and personal at the Future Games. And just because you just never know. You really need to get around these kids, and what a competitor. There were other competitors, obviously, at the Future Games as well, like a super competitive group. But such a tough at-bat, Kyle Rogo. Really, really fun to watch him compete in the box.
Yeah, couldn't agree more on that one. Maybe Fields, you want to take us away next?
Yeah, this is another guy we have a lot of history on. My toughest at-bat is Winston Alonso. The IQ really stands out first and foremost for Winston. Like, obviously, you watch the swing. It's explosive, it's twitchy, it's left-handed. There's a lot of impact, and he sprays the ball to all fields, and he gets to a lot of game power. There's a lot of extra base hits in there as well. But, man, you talk to Winston, like, in the dugout or out after the game, and he's recalling, like, the at-bats. He knows, like, he's in there with a plan. He knows what he's trying to do, and he's really just like a student of the game. You can tell that this kid is all about baseball and really wants to, continue to grow his skills and to, just get everything out of himself.
Yeah, and we were looking up before this podcast, right, Fields, just some stats from the spring, and he only struck out like 3 times for Reedsburg this past spring as a sophomore or as a junior. Yeah, as a junior. But nevertheless, I mean, they were pretty good this year, and he kind of led the way. But 3 strikeouts all season long. I mean, that's great. That's what you're looking for.
Exactly. I mean, I could see him like only having 3 strikeouts the entire year. I mean, even in the summer.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm like the challenge is on here for Winston. Like, can we cut it down to 2 or 1 even? Maybe none. Maybe none this spring, Winston.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, this kid has, he was born to hit. Some guys, really have to develop in terms of a hitter. This kid was born with the hitting gene, we call it. So I'm really impressed with what Winston can do in the box.
Yeah, same. I'll go next here. Toughest at bat. My toughest at bat. Another class of 2025 grad here for me. Jack Zeller, Indian Trail High School. Just had a knack for being like the toughest at bat. I felt like from going back to at least like his sophomore year of high school, it always felt like he knew exactly where the barrel was. Didn't matter the velo, situation, whatever. It felt like you were getting a tough at bat out of him in any way, shape, or form. He was on our first like senior Future Games team in 2024, and he was the exact same player down there against stiffer competition. Moment that sticks out from this past spring, though, at the Rock for our Invitational, we had Indian Trail face Hartford. He faced Carter Gordon, so kind of a teammate in the past that he's come to know. So they were kind of like, you could tell they were like laughing at each other a little bit before the at bat starts, and they go on to have this like epic 12 pitch at bat or something crazy, and they're just like, laughing mid at bat because they're like, how long is this going to go on here? Neither one wanted to lose, you could tell. And then eventually, I think Jack Lutz turned around a triple deep into the gap or something. I think he got hurt. He might have gotten hurt actually when he was on his way to third. So it left a sour note in this awesome moment. But nevertheless, he was still that same old tough at bat, and he's kind of the first player I think of when I think of who do I want on hitting in this situation if I need ball in play or a hard-earned walk or something. But I think Jack Zeller gave it to you.
Learning how to be a catcher as well is what the latest rumor is on
really?
Jack Zeller. Yeah. So only is going to up his profile. We're talking a possible, Josh. Who am I thinking of? The Hall
pro
of
guy?
Fame catcher, Mauer.
Joe
Mauer
Jolton
right
Joe.
here. Just with that smooth left-handed swing. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
He's athletic enough to do that.
I think so. That'd be a good switch for him.
Yeah, was he I don't remember. Was Jack Zeller quarterback too? Because then we could really. Because Joe, legendary quarterback. I'm not sure.
Not sure either.
Awesome. Well, Nick, did you have one? Did you want to? I can't remember.
Yeah, I decided to go underclass here, pick Benjamin Smet Cooper. Just the feel for a young age, especially at the state games. I mean, he was facing some of the best competition in the state, and as one of the youngest guys there, he's working long at bats, falling off speeds, and he had the ability to hit the ball to all fields. I mean, as we've mentioned before, he hit 2 opposite field home runs as a 28, facing 27 and 26s, and it was just super impressive, the feel for the barrel and everything at such a young age.
BSC.
BSC.
Need I say more?
Was it second at bat in his high school career?
I thought it was the first. To be honest,
first or second?
I can't remember. Feels you could be right, but we were talking about this. But
I'm sure someone will reach out to us on Twitter at some point after listening to this episode to confirm was it second or first at bat.
Yeah, I might just call it the first because it adds to the mythology of Smet Cooper if we continue to. Yeah. All right, next category here we have the bullpen of the year. So we kind of limited this just to actual bullpens, showcase settings, just because we can kind of go crazy with it if we push it beyond that. But so we tried to just limit ourselves to just inside the showcase setting from bullpens of the year. Maybe I'll lead us off with this one, just my turn, I guess. But Tanner Efforts is my call, bullpen of the year. Going back to South Milwaukee preseason ID. Tanner Efforts, I mean, we're still reining it in here on his stuff. It is, it's just an electric arsenal, one of a kind, truly. He was up to 92.3 miles an hour in this pen back in March of 2025, averaging over 2,300 RPM on the fastball, nearly 20 inches of IVB on average. Crazy on its own, and then he's throwing this upper 70s, 80 mile an hour curveball with over 16 inches of horizontal break, 2,600 RPM. He is an elite quarterback prospect on top of this, but it looks like he's focusing more and more on baseball these days. Obviously committed to UW-Milwaukee now. But in terms of just pure arm talent and pens, memorable pens, his definitely leaps out to me from this past year.
He's got more room, too, so it's going to be fun to watch him kind of develop here.
Yeah, big spring for him. Just getting to maybe focus a little bit more on baseball with college, this UW-Milwaukee next level. So Tanner Efforts is definitely one of the first guys I think Fields, myself, Nick, whoever, we'll try to get at least a couple looks at Tanner, I think, this spring. So, Vinny, why don't you hit us up next here?
Mason Schmidt and Eau Claire. I mean, Fields and I, Brady Smith was pretty impressive as well as a couple other arms in Eau Claire. But then when Mason got on the mound, was he the last pen of the day? I'm not exactly sure, but it was a really impressive look. I mean, yes, the velocity. I mean, he touched 91. It was actually 90.5 in this look during this bullpen with 20 inches of max induced vertical break. And then he showcased a really impressive sinker at 88 miles per hour in that look as well. Just a ton of run, 21 inches of horizontal break on that pitch. Just really was able to kick that axis out, and it was really running to arm side on that pitch. And then the slider and changeup as well. So it was all 4 of his pitches working, and he executed them at a very high level. And it was the velocity, and it was the way it was all jumping out of his hand. But again, it was more so what was impressive was the command of his entire arsenal that day. Wouldn't you agree, Josh? I mean, it was a really, really fun bullpen to watch from Mason Schmidt that day.
Yeah, it was really in the zone, and honestly, from the prior future games, so that's summer to this bullpen in what was that, early February, the slider and the changeup really seemed to have ticked up. There was 2 playing big break. I mean, -4 inches of IVB and about, what was this, 18.8 inches of horizontal movement on average, like at 75 to 78. Like that's a pitch if he's throwing it at that velo bucket in game. That's a pitch that's going to get swing and miss at any level.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Another UW-Milwaukee commit as well. So they're armed up. We'll go, Nick, why don't you pick us up here?
Yeah, I picked Peter Cuso at the Super 60. I mean, he was 93 to 95 with high spin rates. He was averaging 2,351 with 15 inches of average IVB. And then the off speeds were, I feel like those are pretty firm off speeds. The curveball was 87 to 88 with 2,400 plus RPMs, and I mean he's topping at 2,600. And then even the changeup, he was landing it for strikes. Changeup was up to 90 miles an hour and 67% zone percentage with 15 inches of horizontal movement. So the firm off speeds are something that stood out to me, and then obviously the fastball up to 95.
Yeah, and the best part about this Fields is that, he climbed. He continued to climb. It's not like it was 95 in this pen and you never saw it again in the spring. You know, it ended up climbing up even more. You saw the secondaries in game. It's like this pen was just a glimpse of what was in store for us.
Yeah, and we even saw him hold a ton of mid-90s velo into the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings too. So seems like a guy that can start at the next level in the pro ball for a long time.
Yeah, I think the Mets got a good one. We're huge Peter Cuso fans.
4th rounder from Heartland High School, right? So you talked to Coach O'Driscoll too about Peter, and it's like you can't find a better human being as well. So he's going to do what he needs to do in order to make an impact at the big league level at some point someday. So he's certainly got the arm talent to do so.
Yep, had a great spring, but that Super 60 pen ended up. I don't want to say it made him money on it alone, but he definitely made the absolute most of that opportunity from the Super 60. So that's a good call, Nick. All right, Fields, why don't you cap us off here with your bullpen of the year?
Yeah, I am going back to an underclassman. I think this is probably the most in I've been on a right-hander in the underclass since I've been here. Carter Unger. Remember seeing him the fall of his freshman year, just look really good, really clean arm, up in the low 80s with the breaking ball. And then this was his first showcase appearance for us, and I think I was super excited. I was even calling Andy over from 3 miles away just to get a look at it. It was low to mid 80s up to 85 with all sorts of running action and just life out of the hand in the zone constantly throughout while he was throwing this swing and miss breaking ball that is just huge, actually. 9 inches of IVB and 17.5 inches of horizontal movement with spin. And then he's throwing off another changeup on top of that with about 30 inches of separation, almost 40 inches of separation off the breaking ball. So, this is an arsenal that's super unique. Coming from a lower slot, too, if he has a chance to start, if the strikes continue to stay there, this is a guy that could really make some waves in the national scene.
And Josh, you got to feel like these are some of the most fun players to see develop into real players when you're the first one on them. And Josh Fields, you can confidently say that you were all over Carter Unger first in on him, and man, it's looking like you're going to be right on Carter. Yeah.
It always helps too when you get. I remember that some of the Illinois guys were helping us out at the Wisconsin State games, just watching, charting pitches and stuff on TrackMan. And Gavin Smith from Illinois was like, "Who is this? Who is this? Who's pitching here?" And it was Carter
This guy's
Unger.
awesome.
Like, and he didn't know. You didn't even know how old he was. I was like, "Oh yeah, he's like a 28," and he's like, "What?" So that always helps too, seeing this totally outsider get their first view at how special the talent is there. So yeah, Carter Unger, definitely one of the bullpens of the year. So good stuff there, Josh. All right, awesome. We'll go through some of the like other kind of nominees, I guess, or like guys that we thought of, as a recap here towards the end. So because there's plenty of nominees to kind of go through that we'll shout out. But next category here, best defender. So this one wasn't limited to like showcases necessarily, although they kind of help just set the tone of the tools, what they're bringing to the table. But we didn't limit this one just exclusively to showcase setting. We kind of broadened that out to games, tournaments, and so on. But why don't maybe Vinny, if you want to kick us off in this one?
Yeah. There's looking through some of the names in the state who are great defenders. There's a lot of them. Jake Cummins comes to mind, right? I mean, he's kind of had the calling card of having a great glove. Chase Stouty, a great outfielder. There's a number of different catchers that we can kind of highlight in the state as well. I know you guys are going to get into some of those names, even a Jack Lutz. I mean, but I had to go with, I just had to go with Mason Molitor, right? I mean, this kid can really move. Just when you watch a kid who just has that it factor with the glove, the way that they take their first step, the way that they approach the ground balls with their feet, it's just so smooth. It's so fun. It's so fluid. So fun to watch. I was gonna say it's so fluid, and that's what this kid has. And then every single throw is right on the money. It's just it's like it's hard to, because again, I think as a scout, when I scout players, I like kind of look for things that I never could do and I couldn't defend. And this kid is just, it just stands out just the way that he moves in the infield. And then there's also the factor that this kid, no one's going to deny Mason Molitor the chance to play at the next level. You can just sense that within him. He just has that it factor. And then he kind of, that it factor comes through when you watch him play middle infield as well. So love to watch Mason Molitor play. Yeah,
so after going to running these like showcases for whatever it is, almost like 8 years or something now. It's some of them can be grind, some of them are really long, and they can be a grind to like you're peeking over at like infield if you're sitting on pitching or hitting or whatever, and you're kind of looking around to see what else is going on from time to time. And like as the years have gone on, like seeing elite middle infield defense is like the best feeling in the world, actually, I think, for me. And then we saw this at Madison, Mason Molitor at Madison. That's what we're referring to. And we were watching BP, and I was peeking over at the defense going on, and I just happened to see Mason Molitor, and we all like kind of independently after the showcase were like, there was this kid, and we were like, oh yeah, who was that kid? And it was we were all like, yeah, Mason Molitor. It turns out like. So that was one of my favorite moments of the winter, actually. So we were all on the same page there. It was undeniable how good the defense was that day.
There's a great picture of me and you standing next to each other, Andy. Max Durst took it, and it was us just locked in on Mason Molitor while watching the infield.
Yeah, it was that good. Yeah, it's fun. When you see moments like that, you think of like some of the great players that are kind of run through Wisconsin and like managed to be like Alex Alisea, Noah Miller, these types of guys that are just like, they were always like these undeniable glove first, like, oh, that guy is definitely going to be a shortstop, and they all kind of go on to do great things. And so when you see guys like that, and Mason Molitor is pretty young still here, so he's got a lot of room to grow, but it's like when you can do that, your future's super bright. So Mason Molitor, Reedsburg, another Reedsburg guy makes the list here too, which is cool. Josh Fields, how about you take us away with this next one?
I gotta go with my my guy Cal Hurtgen. He's not my alma mater, Brian Stratton, but I mean the catching defense behind the plate here has the chance to be special and like even upwards of being fringe like pro caliber here. Like the hands and the athleticism obviously play. Like he's big time athlete behind the plate, a good run time, can really move, really athletic. There's some bend behind the plate too, but the catch and throw has a chance to truly be special. There's like. It's always on the bag with carry, and it's It's in the mid 80s right now out of the chute. Also at the plate, he only struck out. He actually didn't strike out last year as a
Yeah, for
senior,
the
so
spring. Yeah.
just a little nugget there. But yeah, I'm really in on the defense behind the plate. He shows the ability to catch velo, catch spin, and I think it's only going to get better as well in junior college.
Yeah, I hope listening to we don't throw around a ton of hyperbole. I don't think, but I mean, feels
I try not to.
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty good about it. Despite Vinny comping somebody
to Joe Mauer.
We literally just did that 2 minutes ago. But,
Or Zach
okay,
Davies.
so,
My comps are.
Yeah. But with that, for real, Cal Hurchin, pro level defense is not a joke. I totally agree. Go ahead. I'm sure we'll splice up a video alongside Josh saying that, on social media soon here. But it's that good. Watch the video yourself. It's pretty special. And then when you or when you bring up that he didn't even strike out this past spring, it's there's something pretty unique about that profile. As a catcher who can put the bat in the ball. So I'm really interested in the career of Cal Hurchin because there's a lot of one-of-a-kind tools, it seems like. What were you saw him in the ball too, right? Or yeah, go ahead, Vinny.
I was just going to say, and watch, just keep an eye on Brian Stratton's pitching staff this year and how much they're going to benefit from this defender behind the plate kind of leading things. So,
yeah,
it's going to help.
We held a Brian Stratton Scout Day in the fall. Feels just. Do you want to bring up maybe just Hurchin's performance from that day too?
Yeah, I mean, the 85-mile-an-hour catch and velo was from that scout day. There it was, the pops were just, I think it was 194 to 18, or 187 to 194. And
yeah.
It was, I think we had to throw him 6 or 7 pops just because it was a 187 to 188 through 5. It was consistent, just on the bag, money throws, with arm strength, with carry, and I mean, he was able to repeat that motion the entire time. So
it is not cheating either. He's waiting until the ball's getting to him, and then he's with a lightning quick transfer and then putting the ball in the bag.
Yeah.
At 85 miles per hour. I mean, so I had someone clock me when I was first catching, and I had a probably 55, maybe a 60 arm. When I was first starting, but it was 85 behind the dish. So I mean, 85 is throwing seeds down to second base.
Yeah, and making it look that efficient too. Yeah, really, really, really good.
And I think there's even some things that he can clean up still some more with the the front foot plant, the transfer, and the release there. So I think that's going to only get better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exciting stuff for Hurchin. So. That's a great call. That is a good one. Another catcher, mine personally, Tarek Verhage, one of my favorite players that I watched. Throughout his high school career, he's just super, super competitive. One of the most athletic defenders at catcher that I've seen. Really, really mobile back there. Is aggressive in that he's constantly looking. He's got a hose too. He's got a big arm as well. But he kind of plays catcher, as if he were. A center fielder who had to do it on the fly or something, an emergency catcher, where he's just really active back there. Clearly loves to do it as well, which is just always fun to see when a player just likes the game and you could just tell how locked in they are. He loves to hit as well. His left-handed swing is really good, so he's bringing something offensive to the table. But when you think about just the asset that he is behind the plate, as both a game caller at catcher and just his ability as a blocker and receiver, first and foremost, you need to do those things at catcher, and he does them really, really well. But then he's able to kind of add on to with being this athletic catch and throw guy with arm strength, and just a huge fan of his, and he sticks out to me as the best defender that I saw in 2025. So shout out to Tarek, on to University of St. Thomas now, another 2025 guy. All right, Nick, why don't you bring up your choice here for Defender of the Year?
I went with Van Vogler. Tossed 81 miles an hour across the infield, and it's smooth, it's easy. He's effortless across. I mean, the glove works really well. He throws from all angles, and he can get to the ball. Really stood out at the state games that I saw it live. That was the first time I'd seen it in game, and it was super clean, and it stood out. amongst a good crop of players.
Yeah, I think committed to Minnesota State now. Fields, is that right?
Yeah.
Mankato, yeah.
B2, Mankato.
Yeah.
I think Adam Thielen went there. That's the first thing I think of whenever I hear Minnesota State. I don't just.
I think of Sun Prairie East when I think of Van Vogler personally. Just Mark Cheeseman.
Yeah, yeah. Sun Prairie East. He's actually, I would say Van Vogler too would have been a good candidate for like the most improved as well. I felt like he made
Absolutely.
he made a huge gain, but kind of across the board, offensively, defensively, like Nick mentioned. So yeah, great call there by Nick with Van Vogler. Middle infield defense is definitely special. All right, next category here we have BP, batting practice round of the year. So again, this is just kind of limited to batting practice in a showcase setting. But there are just a ton of good candidates here. Maybe Fields, why don't you lead us off for this one?
Yeah, I kind of cheated here because I couldn't pick one of these guys, but the rounds of BP that some of our guys took at the future games were just, special. Logan Hagman and Ira Hillblink in particular, Ira averaged almost 100 miles an hour off the bat, peaked at 103 while he was just impacting the baseball to all fields, multiple home runs. You can say the same thing about Logan Hagman. I mean, there was a bubble at Lake Point right down the line and left, and I think he was hitting that bubble every other swing, and it was not just at the bottom. It was like halfway up the bubble or even higher. He might have even hit a ball over the scoreboard at Lake Point. Like, this is just some eye-popping power. It's different off the bat for both of these prospects, and they were able to, back that up in game. Hagman had a couple doubles. Hillblink was pretty productive in game against those arms as well. So,
Hillblink launched that homer against Indiana in the night. Like that was an awesome moment because
it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So he definitely brought it with him to in game too. But yeah, both those guys. It's hard to have better BP. I think than both those guys are. I think those are two really good choices. I get you not being able to split them apart, Field, so good stuff there.
And what stands out to me when you watch both those players take BP is like just how special, and I'm using that word not lightly. Like I do think their hands and their hand talent is actually really special from both those players. I actually think you might be able to just even squeeze a little bit more just with tiny little tweaks once both those kids get to the next level, just with how they use their sequence in the swing and just their lower half, because they are so handsy, and yet the ball just it just rockets off of their bats. That's how quick and twitchy and strong their hands are. Both those kids just have just this next level type of hand talent. And I remember Jim Scalen, he was my first hitting coach in the Brewers system. He's the minor league hitting coordinator for the Brewers, and he ended up being a great pro scout actually for the Toronto Blue Jays. And they would bring him in to meetings because they knew he was a hitting coach, and they would bring him in. He was telling me this story, and he would say, okay, they would ask him, like, what are you looking for when you're scouting a player as to whether or not they're going to be able to hit? And the first thing he said is, do they have great hands? And that's it in a nutshell. Both these kids have great hands. I'm a little long-winded here talking about it.
No,
but,
it's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, it's like great hands translates to being a great hitter. And you can see that in BP. And you can see it. It stands out with both these guys. I mean, you really can.
Yeah, pretty effortless power as well. They're not selling out for home runs in this future games setting in front of coaches. Like, that's kind of just happening because that's who they are. Yeah, and there are two players as well. It's like they've proved it in game. Both those guys had awesome spring seasons and just totally carried it over to the summer. So, Hagman, Hagman now is committed to Minnesota. Hillblink is, I think, our top uncommitted kid in the 27 class too. So, really good profile there, obviously. So worth checking out if you haven't already. Ira Hillblink from Cedar Grove, Belgium. All right, I'll take on the next one here. Dominic Santarelli feels like kind of a no-brainer, just because just of all the years I'm doing this, I don't think a player ever in front of me has ever averaged, let's see, an average EV this was from the South Milwaukee preseason ID in March, 102.3 mile an hour average EV, 108.6 max, almost 300 feet of average batted distance, 380 feet max. Also, of course, there's bat speed. He improved the 60 time. We've talked about that a lot. So he's doing all these things in the background while also kind of maintaining his presence as like this, one of the top power threats in the country. Goes on to do more or less the same exact thing on the national stage across the country, and then eventually at our own All-American game. But in terms of just pure memorable, like batting practice rounds of BP I've ever seen in my life, I think this one from March, Dom Santarelli authored, is going to stick with me. I'm excited to think of that, 5-10 years from now when he's doing it against on even bigger stages. So I think that's definitely my choice for this past year.
Andy, don't you just love how I texted you last night about his swings from when he was a 7th grader? Don't you just love how the swing is virtually unchanged?
Yeah,
it's just the same sweet swing move, left-hander.
Yeah, yep. It was always good. I remember he could really pitch when he was younger too. So there was like a moment there where you're like, oh, is he better on the mound, or is he better? He kind of answered that. Although he got the final out for St. Joe's this past year, so maybe we shouldn't count out the mound stuff yet for Dom. But
I mean, he knows how to spin a breaking ball.
And I feel like too, weren't we? I mean, good thing he wasn't like the first round of batting practice that we saw at the event, because we probably would have had to recalibrate the TrackMan because every single exit velocity was over 107 miles per hour. It's like, wait a minute, this can't be right.
Yeah, and again, like I was worried in that moment because it was actually effortless, and he was all right back at the L screen for the most, or like a lot of them were. So I was just kind of like, I mean, I know he's strong, but like we got 7 in a row at like 107. I'm like, is that? And then it was right.
And I was like, I was hoping for 110.
Yeah. So pretty crazy. Vinny, why don't you go next?
Zach Rizzo at that same event. It was just a great round of batting practice, right-handed swing, and we've seen this kid. He could have been part of that most improved group as well. I mean, he had a monster season this last year. Unfortunately, he suffered a knee injury that I believe he has recovered from since, and that's why he wasn't able to come to the Senior Future Games with us end of July. But he had just a monster spring, but his spring was kind of foreshadowed by this round of batting practice that he took. I mean, we were all kind of like, oh, wow, this kid really took another step forward. Because I remember we saw him the year before at that same event at the Hitters Academy, and it was good, and he kind of put himself on the map. Like, okay, we got to really pay attention to Zach Rizzo, and then he showed up in March and just absolutely was hitting rockets from an effortless right-handed swing, and then he took that right into the spring and had a monster spring. So it was a really good look from Zach, and we're looking forward to seeing him again this spring.
Yeah, same lineup as Santarelli. I'm pretty sure, I don't follow the high school football too closely, but I'm pretty sure he was quarterbacking St. Joe's, and they won state this year. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was as well.
Yep.
Really good athlete. Really good on the mound, too, as well. Might be a two-way at Parkside at next level.
Yep. Yeah, he was launching balls at that South Milwaukee event. That was definitely memorable. So, Zach Rizzo. That's going to be a pretty potent lineup again for St. Joe's, I'd imagine, seems like.
I believe they're Division II now, right?
Yeah, did they move up? They might have.
They might have with
they had. Yeah. Yep, Division II. Yeah, that'll be fun, actually. Seeing them in T2. All right, Nick, what do you got here for your BP round of the year?
I went with a JUCO kid that I've talked about before, out of Arrowhead, PJ Hamill, now at McHenry County College. He had 106 max exit velo with an average of 97, launching balls 402 feet max. He had an 80% hard hit percentage, so 80% of his swings were 90 plus. He worked on top of the baseball, the balls that he was hitting, going over the trees in center. They've got a big wall in left. He was launching them into the parking lot, just majestic fly balls. It was really impressive and probably the best BP round that I've seen in person.
Yeah, that's awesome because he had a great spring for Arrowhead. I felt like we always liked him, and then this spring, I felt right fields like I felt like he really put it together just in game this year. The tools, or like he could catch in the bullpen, like in a bullpen.
Yeah, it was a lot of the reps thing for me. Like
Yeah.
with Arrowhead, they had a lot of catchers in front of him when he was a junior or sophomore, so he wouldn't get a lot of those reps catching, Arrowhead staff with, a lot of pro stuff. And this year as a senior, he was able to, catch most of the entire time, and he looked like he could handle Peter Cuso pretty naturally.
Yep.
The breaking ball, the sticks there, handle and spin, like looked really good. And then obviously just the limbs and the levers to pair with the power, like he could launch a lot of baseballs for a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped that another Wisconsin catcher in junior college. Like that's the second one we talked about now. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and Nick DiBenedetto, he definitely knows good swings because he had one himself as the all-time hit leader at Loras College?
Doubles leader.
Doubles leader. That's right.
No, not hit.
Wasn't anybody that good? Is anybody gonna break that? Do you have like a teammate that's like close to breaking your is somebody gonna?
It was single season, so. Like,
okay.
It just depends on the season, but I mean, in my sophomore year, it got broken. And then my roommate broke it our junior year, and then I broke his record our senior year. So just kept getting passed. And then this year, no one broke it. So I'm hoping that sticks for a while.
Dude, it's sticking.
All right, good.
Get a statue.
Awesome. Yeah, build
the statue.
All right, next we got two more categories here. Next category, top newcomer of the year. So this was kind of wide open. But the way we kind of did this was just like if we didn't have them on our rankings. From 2024, and then eventually we did this past year. It's kind of how we broke it up, but it was wide open otherwise. So actually, Fields, why don't you start us off with this one?
Yeah, I'm picking Max Lubnow. He was probably the biggest winner from the Wisconsin State games. 6'3" right-hander up to 89 with field of spin and breaking ball. The stuff really plays, and I think it's going to play in the zone. He just has to work in the zone a little more often, but right now it's a live arm with field of spin. Fastball's going to play. There's some life to it, but honestly, this is an arm that is 100% like he was future games caliber, but we just didn't see him in the summer. So Max Lubnow. Yep,
he rose the most, I think, in between updates, I guess he debuted the highest in between updates in our post summer update. We have him all the way up to
23 now,
23, 24, something like that. Yeah. So top 25 arm, uncommitted still, Madison West High School. Yeah, Maxwell Lubnow. Certainly one to know. Vinny, why don't you take us next year?
I mean, Aiden Waterstreet just kind of came from unknown to future games to just really performed like he had been there the whole time, in terms of the rankings. I mean, got him all the way up to the 25th ranked player in the class at 2027. 6'4", 190 pounds, smooth left-handed swing. Andy LaRoche comp on the swing, just kind of upright and then just kind of lofts.
Such a good comp, actually.
Kind of flows through the baseball, plays a really good first base, can play out in a corner outfield as well. And then he got on the mound and he was up to 85, 86 miles per hour and was able to spin a breaking ball and had another changeup as a go-to secondary as well. So, yeah, I mean, and then just a cool, calm, collected customer out there. A lot of times we see some players, especially at the future games, that maybe you see this more maybe at the junior future games where maybe they're a player with not a lot of exposure. Maybe they play for a smaller program and then they get on that stage and they're, that sometimes it takes them just maybe a game or two or an at-bat or two to kind of get comfortable. Not this kid. He was comfortable right away. Felt like he belonged. It looked like he felt like he belonged. So, Aiden Waterstreet, one of the top newcomers of last year.
Yeah, that plate coverage, when I think of Aiden Waterstreet, he was just he was tough to make swing and miss, I felt like. And he was, on top of it all, facing for sure the best pitching he's ever seen in his life after talking to him. So to be unfazed by that by that moment, like you're saying, Vinny, and to put the bat on the ball, he might have had 3 or 4 hits for us, and like he got a hit in his very first at bat too. Like so, that tells a whole different story about. Like,
I think there was 2 doubles from the future game, so even impacting the ball a little bit.
Yep, and he had a really good BP that totally, like, I felt like we were like, oh, okay, like now because we hadn't yet seen it in a BP setting, but then getting to see that on that workout day really set the tone. We're like, hopefully this transfers in the game, and it definitely did. So,
great find from Peter Hammett down in Illinois for us. Yeah,
our Illinois State. He was at a Rantoul tournament in Illinois, Central Illinois, and performed down there, and Peter Hammett kind of made it seem like we need to have him on a roster. Watched some video, and we're like, yeah, we do. And he was one of our top hitters, so good stuff. And he epitomizes the top newcomer award, actually, I think, because he came out of nowhere for us, which was awesome to see. So love seeing that. I'll save mine for the end. So Nick, why don't you hit us up next here?
I went with Sam Manchester out of Hudson in 2026. He's going to Brighton Stratton. He broke out last winter at his first event at Eau Claire, and then also went to the Green Bay preseason ID, and then kind of put it all together at the state games. I mean, his exit velo jumped 6 miles an hour just between March and July, and then had a max distance of 376 at the state games, and was a 6.68 runner. So then after the preseason IDs last winter, he was ranked 183 and then jumped all the way recently to 51. So he kind of jumped onto the scene this year, and then kind of just throughout the year continued to improve and got all the way up to 51.
Yeah, I love it for Sam. Double dipping the awards here. Fields, I think the stats here like tell the story. Like it's kind of crazy to look at the metrics that he put together at state games. Because like him, like Cooper Went, like those are the 2 guys that stick out to me as like they're at the top or near the top of like a ton of these leaderboards. So Manchester now committing to your boys with Brian Stratton, I think that's going to be a good fit.
Great fit. Great fit.
Tomner knows what he's looking at for sure.
Yeah, Coach Tomter.
Yeah.
All right, mine. I'm very excited for this one. We got a 2030 grad here, but I'm telling you guys, Chris Worrell Jr. is one of the best players I've ever seen at this age. You know, I'm not just saying that. He was on our junior future games team, you know, playing up obviously, with these 2029s, which he'd been doing all year. So that part didn't bother him, of course. But he was, probably just our best all-around player. So he's a catcher, and he was a phenomenal catcher behind the plate. Huge arm, terrific receiver. Left-handed swing is just awesome. Like it's physical. He has barrel feel. He was sending balls, from foul pole to foul pole. This was a pretty special package in terms of you have a left-handed catcher with bat-to-ball skills, who can catch, has tools, like is pretty athletic, is a bigger-bodied kid. Like he's going to get really, really physical. He loves playing the outfield.
Athletic family as well.
Yep, great fan. Like checks a ton of boxes here. So getting to know the name Chris Worrell Jr. this past year, 2025, he to me top newcomer because I really just think we're just seeing the signs of things to come for him, and he's somebody I think we're just going to be talking about him more and more and more as the years go on. So once he enters high school, I believe he'll be headed to Oak Creek, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Oak Creek High School. How about this is also a Joe Mauer comp. So we got 2 Joe Mauer comps in the same podcast. It's like left-handed hitting, big-body catcher with a smooth left-handed swing. And how about the maturity level from this kid? I mean, I was thinking to myself, he's literally more mature than I am currently, and he's 30 years younger than I am. So, great kid, and also one of the best players I have ever seen at this age level.
Yeah, and the maturity and then like the competitiveness, and I'll bring it up just because like all is well. But so he was catching. I mean, it's obviously hot. Like, it's like the craziest time of year for us to be in Georgia. It's like, it's intense, and he's catching this whole time. But he was still, like, super eager to play the outfield. So he just wanted to play the outfield a little bit. He goes out and left, and he sells out. Like, he gets a great jump on this ball over his head, sells out, crashes into the fence, banged up his knee. And thankfully, everything was fine. But just kind of goes to show, it's like, didn't matter. It was an important game. I think he was mad that he had to come out of the game because it was the playoffs, I think, at that point or something. It's just a good memory that, he was just mad that he couldn't be out there, and he was mad that he didn't make the play, I guess. But you love seeing that and just seeing the fire in a kid like that. So. Again, just the boxes, a ton of boxes checked for Chris Worrell. So excited to see what 2026 has in store for us there. All right, that brings us to our final award here. We're calling it Showcase Warrior Award of 2025. To us, that just kind of means all in all, just the top performances from a specific event from this past year. There's a ton of candidates, but maybe let's have Vinny. Why don't you start us off, Vinny?
Oh man, this one, I just feel like so my pick is Ben Kuglich. Okay, so and we talk about, like, man, this is one of the most talented players, I guess I've ever seen. I mean, so currently fifth ranked player in the state of the 2026 class, which goes to show how talented that 2026 class is in the state. He's currently at 226th nationally, so he's a nationally ranked player. It's a player that's already has gotten a ton of looks from scouts. The tools are just off the charts. I mean, just like the ability to run 6.47 60-yard dash time. It's upwards of close to 100 mile per hour exit velocities from that right-handed swing. Super powerful, short, compact right-handed swing. Ball absolutely rockets off of his bat. I mean, he's 6'2", 182 pounds. So, I mean, there's still more room to grow. His long, lanky levers that he has. Muskego High School, another talented player from Muskego. But and then on the mound, like, is a legitimate two-way player. He's committed to Florida State currently. He's legitimately a two-way threat at the next level. And, I mean, I guess it remains to be seen what he's going to do. Is he going to be a pitcher? Is he going to be a hitter? Both are pro-level type of tools, and you can see this kid, whatever he settles into, he's got a real chance to play at that next level, not only in college, obviously, but at the pro level. So I know he's being looked at by scouts currently, but it's the tool set off the charts. But workout warrior for sure, Ben Kuglich, but also shows up in game clearly. So really impressed with Ben, and we have been ever since he's been a seventh grader. I mean, when he was hitting bombs at the Rock. So he's just continued to kind of be on that upward trajectory.
Yeah, it's so here we have with Ben Kuglich, somebody who at one showcase, this was from the West Milwaukee ID. He ran a 6.47, which I think was the best time of at least the winter. I think eventually Senior Future Games, Ezra, Lagan topped that. There might have been one or two guys that did, because that Senior Future Games situation was crazy. But he runs a 6.47 in the winter, hits a ball 98 miles an hour, 77 mile an hour bat speed, and it was also up to 94 on the mound. He's just one of the better athletes, players we've definitely seen in the state. He is totally still possible. He had previously been the number one ranked player for a little bit, and that's still within the realm of possibility, honestly, that he finishes at number one. That's, again, like what Vinny was saying, how good this 2026 class is. I don't think there'll be another one like it anytime soon. It is that good. So he is just part of this mix of players that we'll get to talk about, 10, 20 years from now. Like, oh, remember that 2026 class, Ben Kuglich, Tom Santorelli in the bunch. So, Kuglich, that performance at West Milwaukee is going to stick with us, I think. But Fields, now is your time. Now is your time to shine with this one.
Now is my time? Okay. Well, Jace Matazinski was probably the biggest winner from a showcase setting this entire year. Senior Future Games MVP, but we first saw him at the Wausau preseason ID where he was a two-way over there. this was Vinny's like first like in person look at Jace, so I was really intrigued to see like, all right, what does he think? Is he as like you and I were in? But you know, the tools were there as well. I mean, obviously down in Georgia, he ran that 667, 100-mile-an-hour EVs, a couple 103-mile-an-hour EVs in game, and then obviously it's a great shortstop with the arm. But he also threw on the mound, and it's 93 with a slider. Like, how talented is this kid?
Like,
It's
yeah,
just
white
he's not
mouse.
even trying that hard to do that. He's just I'm gonna go up there and get some guys out. I don't care how hard I throw or how
Yeah.
like yeah the results.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 98 across, which granted, I think he was just crow hopping it across, which I don't blame him for. But it was 98 miles an hour across the infield. And
Yeah.
being up to 93 on the mound, I think just the point is he has enough arm for the left side of the infield. But his day at Wausau, I couldn't be there. I was sick, and I was super bummed because I wanted to see Jace. And then knowing, getting the text from Fields that how good, it was better than I could have even imagined.
It made driving back in that snowstorm so much more like bearable.
I bet. That's awesome. All right, Nick, why don't you go, and then I'll round us out here at the end.
I went with Kalen Tomsic, committed to South Dakota State out of Muskego. I picked his senior future games performance. He was a 6.45 runner with 100-mile-an-hour max EV, with a max distance of 386 and threw 91 miles an hour from the outfield, and showed off the athleticism and the vertical jump with the 27.7 vert. So, I mean, he's all tooled up. The performance was eye-opening and, I mean, stood out on the day.
Yep, Cal Tomsic. He's man. Wait, Vinny, were you about to hop in there?
Well, I was just going to say, remember, too, with the new vault system, that 27-inch vertical, people are probably like, oh, that's not that good. It's, like, really good. If you get up to in the 30s is unheard of, really.
That's a lot. Yeah, like getting to 30 inches vertical is like, that's high. Yeah, so 27-ish, like that is really, really good. I mean, trying to think, because I think we had a bunch of guys on that. I'd have to pull it up. But yeah, we had a lot of top, like high-end athletes on that Senior Future Games team. Callan's performance kind of across the board there at the workout day of the Senior Future Games was great. And then just to see him, because he was kind of a late ad, and then to see him just lead the way, we mentioned a few times, but he led the team, that event, I think, in hits, the whole entire event in hits and
Hit a home run too.
Yep. Kind of just did it all on top of the metrics that he put together. So had an awesome year. So Showcase Warrior for Callan Tomsic award there. Love that. I went with Chance Ruby, actually from that same event that Ben Kuglich was at. Chance Ruby, 6.56 runner, nearly 27-inch vertical, 72 miles an hour bat speed, 96 EV, 89 across. But he hopped on the mound. He was 90 miles an hour on the mound with this like arm side running fastball. But just like he is such an easy baseball player to watch and to like. And watching it in a showcase setting, like being able to see it kind of one after the other, like station to station, like you watch him run, and it's a great gait. He's athletic. Okay, great. What does he do next? It's like, oh, also it's nothing but barrels and BP, makes it look easy. He's stronger than he looks initially, even, 96 EVs. He's great on the infield, 90 across. Like, it's kind of one thing after the other with Chase. Like, the whole package is great. Right-handed hitting shortstop who I think should deserve, like, some pro scouting attention. I think he'll get a little bit in the spring at least, UIC commit. But seeing him on that day in February in Waukesha, West Milwaukee at Styx, that'll be like something we think about, and I'm just excited to see what senior year is like for Chance, because he's been a 3-year performer on varsity for Wilmot, and but he could end with a really special season, I think, for them as a senior with the Panthers. So that is my showcase warrior for 2025, Chance Ruby. So we do have a hard out here, I think, at 2:30 while we're recording this. So we'll kind of recap this quickly. I thought would be good to recap this. But so most improved, we had awards dish out to Sam Manchester, Jack Brenner, Evan Lauer, Hakan Hofstall. Toughest at bats, so Josh went with Winston Alonso, Vinny, Kyle Rogosinski. I went with Jack Zeller. Nick went with Benjamin Smith Cooper. Bullpen of the year, Carter Unger, Mason Schmidt, Tanner Efforts, Peter Cuso. Best defender, we had Cal Hurchin, Mason Molitor, Tarek Verhage, Van Vogler. BP round of the year, we had a tie between Logan Hagman, Ira Hilblink, Zach Rizzo, Dominic Santarelli, PJ Hamill. Top newcomers, Maxwell Lubnow, Aiden Waterstreet, Chris Worrell Jr., another Sam Manchester shout-out, and then Showcase Warrior rounded us out, Jace Matazinski, Ben Kuglich, Chance Ruby, and Callan Tomsick. So that was pretty fun, right?
That was fun.
Yeah, anything we want to add here, guys?
Let me just say, going through all these names, guys, like, how talented are the baseball players in the state of Wisconsin? I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about these guys. I mean, it's just been so much fun to cover the state, cover the players, and my goodness, there is so much talent right now in the state of Wisconsin when it comes to baseball, prep baseball, and we love it. So
Yeah.
let's see what 2026 has in store.
Yeah, it's teeing up to be a really, really, really fun year. Super excited to get after it in 2026. Our events are posted, so we'll be hopping around the state. We actually added one event in Mosinee, which brings, I think, so we'll be running probably the most we've ever run before. So we should be in your neck of the woods if you're listening to this. So just check us out on the website, learn a little bit more there. If you guys could subscribe, like, whatever you do, like that stuff gives us some pretty good feedback on what works, what you guys like and listen to. Comments are always welcome, any kind of feedback. Hopefully we'll have some more guests lined up in the new year and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
So, but it's been fun. Thank you for listening this year. I think it's been us getting this off the ground, like been sort of just winging it, but it's been a lot of fun to produce. So hope you guys like it too. All right, Vinny.
Let's go. Let's roll this out.
You got to be the outro guy for us.
All right. Here we go. Let's go. In 2026, let's go Team Cheese.
Team Cheese. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll see ya.
Thanks for listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast. To keep tabs on our latest events, rankings, and coverage, subscribe or follow the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and follow us over at PrepBaseballWI on X and at PrepBaseballReport.com/Wisconsin. Until next time.